So today we're going to be taking a look at a setup that you would probably never really imagine or envisage that it would be good, but is better than one of the best and most well-known armor sets on the game. Well, that's what a lot of people are saying, so I'm going to see if that's really the truth. Necron armor has been in the game for quite a long time now, and while it definitely can be outscaled by Crimson, when it comes to dungeons, it's undoubtedly the best damaging set. Now enter the Skeleton Master chestplate. You might be thinking what, and yeah, I guess I was too, but when you actually take a look at it, it makes sense. Now the Skeleton Master chestplate is simply a drop from dungeons. There's a mob called a Skeleton Master, and you can drop it from those. With it being a drop from dungeons, basically the higher floor that you actually drop it from, the better the base piece of armor is. And the wiki most definitely demonstrates it. Additionally, since the armor is obtainable from catacombs, it's based that scale off the floor it was obtained from. Meaning that ideally, if you were to buy a Skeleton Master chestplate that was obtained from Master Mode Floor 7, it's basically just going to give you the best return. It's going to have the best base stats. Which means that some Skeleton Master chestplates are really cheap, and others can get, well, a lot more expensive because they are simply better. Now, something that's also interesting is, it says right there, this item is undead. And if we take a look at the stats for the legendary zombie pet, well, that stat right there at the bottom, Living Dead, increases all stats on undead armor by 25%. Now, of course, this being a Skeleton Master chestplate and, well, along with the great base stats, you know, it also increases the damage you deal with arrows by 5%. If you were to use a full Skeleton Master set, then you'd increase your damage even more. We're going to do a bit of testing. But before we go any further, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS. It gets yourself 5% off. You should subscribe to the channel. If you watch the videos and you haven't subscribed, please make sure to do so. You should join the Discord server. It's linked in the description of this video. We offer slayers and dungeon carries, so if you need carries or want to carry and make some coins, make sure to join. Now, even though the Skeleton Master setup is usually perceived to be a relatively early game setup, to get a good Skeleton Master chestplate, you are going to be paying quite a lot. If we just simply take a look at the base stats, this chestplate gives us plus 77 crit damage, this one gives us plus 98, and this one gives us plus 110. They're all recombobulated, they're all mythic, and they all have ancient. The best one we can possibly buy at the moment is going to give us plus 110 crit damage, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Now the Golden Dragon is really strong, but we're still going to buy a zombie to do some testing. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to just get a base damage with our Necron on. We're going to use the Necron, we're going to use it with the G-Drag, then we're also going to swap to the zombie pet, and then we're going to do the same with the Skeleton Master chestplate. Now I'm going to do it outside of dungeons first just to see what it's like, and then I'll also do it again inside of dungeons. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of see what our base damage is looking like, and that's going to be about 250k, give or take. That was with the Golden Dragon. Now I'm going to put the zombie pet on. It's not level 100, so we do need to take this into consideration. Yeah, there weren't any level 100s on the market, so I guess we're using level 92. Anyway, the difference is already relatively substantial. We're getting between 275k and 280k damage. Now, of course, if it was level 100, it'd be just a little bit better as well. Okay, we're now going to swap out our chestplate for our Skeleton Master. And then, first of all, we're going to take out a G-Drag. And our damage is actually very similar. 250k. Then we're going to take our zombie pet and equip it. And we're going to do a bit of a test and see how much damage we do now. So 280k, 91, 291. It's a little bit more. It's consistently a little bit more. Probably put a helmet on this, or I don't even know. You know what? Neither pet item is going to affect the damage anyway. Now, before we go into the dungeon, something we have to consider is the zombie pet is actually really quite good because it's going to reduce our damage taken from zombies. Well, at level 100, I assume that's probably 25%. And we also deal, at the moment, 140% more damage to zombies. And yeah, at level 100, that goes up to 150. Okay, let's try this again. Now we're in our Necron with our Golden Dragon equipped. Okay, and let's see our damage figures. So that was 9 million, 9 million, 10 million. So we can do a little bit better than that. Yeah, around about 10 million, that seems to be about right. Okay, we're going to switch over to our zombie pet. And what is the difference? So, we're actually dealing, let's see, maybe that's because it was to a zombie. Let's see, it looked like slightly more damage, but yeah, slightly more to a zombie, slightly more to a zombie. How about to a fell? Still slightly more. That's really quite interesting. It looks like to non-zombies it could be slightly less. Okay, interesting. Anyway, now we will switch out our chest plates So we've got our Skeleton Master chestplate on, and I'll switch back to our G-Drag. Okay, now our damage is... it looks to be around about the same. Yeah, it looks to be around about the same. Well, the same as Necron with G-Drag. Yeah, around about 9 million damage, and that was pretty much what we were getting before. Anyway, let's switch out to our zombie pet. Okay, our damage, that was to a zombie, it was 17 million, but I want to try and get a non-zombie to see... Oh, that's a zombie again, 11 million. Okay, I'll try again. It's not going to give us a proper damage figure. Okay, yeah, so this is going to be a zombie. 11 million. We look to be dealing between 11 and 13 million damage. Now, I've got to say that using a G-Drag with Necron, using a zombie pet with Necron, and then using a G-Drag and zombie pet with Skeleton Master, they all yield very similar results. And what I mean by that is, well, majority of the time we're dealing more damage with the zombie pet, and then the Skeleton Master chestplate with the zombie pet is just that little bit better. Which is ironic, because the zombie pet is a fraction of the price of the G-Drag. And as for the Skeleton Master chestplate, well, you could simply just get your own. You don't have to buy one from the AH. I bought this for 65 million coins, and to be honest, I think it's massively overpriced. I've probably been ripped off, and I'm probably not going to see those coins again. But it doesn't just stop there. Something that's really cool is this other perk here. Your bows don't consume arrows. So, currently in my quiver, I have all of these explosive arrows and some flint arrows, okay? So, I'm just going to spam my Terminator. I'm currently using flint arrows, by the way, just to let you know. Just to make sure, flint arrow selected. And I'm literally just going to spam my arrows for, I don't know, say a minute. And we'll see if our arrows are depleted. Okay, it's been a good minute. So let's check our arrow situation. Your bags, quiver. Yeah. We've not lost any arrows at all. I've literally been spamming them. I haven't taken my finger off right click the past minute. Now you might think, yeah, well, that's cool, but is it so much of an inconvenience just to, you know, pay a few thousand coins just to top up your quiver every, you know, now and then? I guess if you do something like dungeons and you use your Terminator, you're probably filling your quiver up relatively frequently. However, in between runs, it's a matter of a couple of seconds. But what's interesting is if we actually swap our arrows to anything else, we're just going to use explosive arrows, as an example, because we already have them. It also works with any type of arrow, so it's not just regular flint arrows. You can literally, basically, have unlimited arrows, regardless of the type of arrow, which is really quite cool. Because it can be a bit of a pain to, you know, go over to the NPC and then craft a load of coal into coal blocks, and, you know, it can kind of get a little bit repetitive and annoying and tedious. Now, I'm not really saying that it's optimal to be using explosive arrows in dungeons. You can use whatever arrow you want. This is just for an example. But 1 minute later, and we still haven't lost any arrows. We still have just as many as we had when we started. Now, that feature, of course, isn't the main selling point. It's just, you know, it's nice to have. Why not? To be honest, I guess the only real downside of this chestplate is the fact that it doesn't have gemstone slots. Well, that, to be honest, is not really the end of the world. There's many other armor sets that don't have gemstone slots. I guess less than before now. So I will say the Skeleton Master chestplate is incredibly strong. It has some really nice perks. It pairs really, really well with a zombie pet, which, by the way, isn't even level 100, which is a ridiculously good pet. It is a strong pet, especially for, well, this exact situation. You can pick a level 100 up for between 20 and 30 million coins, and in that specific scenario, it outdamaged the G-Drag. It outdamaged the G-Drag very, very slightly with the Necron's armor, but a little bit more with the Skeleton Master, which honestly is really, really interesting. Okay, I've just made a really interesting find, and that's the fact that I actually didn't have any coins in my bank, and that's why the G-Drag damage was so low. Yeah, that'll do it. This is the zombie pet, and this is the actual G-Drag damage. So it is substantially higher, but, you know, about 2.5 billion coins more expensive. So that means with Necron armor, our actual damage with the G-Drag is around about 15 mil, and our actual damage with the zombie pet, well, should realistically still be the same. Yeah, it's going to be around about 11.5 mil against zombies and around about 9 mil against everything else. And then Skeleton Master chestplate with G-Drag, I assume it's probably going to be similar, yeah, around about 15.5 mil, so very, very similar to Necron. And then with the Skeleton Master chestplate, our damage is 9 mil, that seems low. Okay, let's see. Yeah, more like 12 million. And obviously your ideal setup realistically here in terms of for dungeons seems to be, well, the Skeleton Master chestplate with a G-Drag. It makes sense for a 2 billion coin pet. I was wondering why the damage was so underwhelming at first. I thought, is a zombie pet really this good? And, well, it is, it's just not as good as I thought. My fault. But the price that you'd pay for a decent Necron chestplate, you can most definitely get an equivalent, really good Skeleton Master chestplate. And it might just be that little bit better. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.